Alright guys, today we're going to be showing you how to do a hack on a Canon Powershot A560. It's a 7.1 megapixel camera, and to me this thing has a really good nighttime flash. I was surprised at how good it really is, and I'll be posting up some pictures on the forums to show you that in the various ISO settings. ISO 1600 was really bright, but pictures were pretty grainy, so I would suggest using about ISO 800 or possibly even 400. That seemed to do really well out to about 35-40 feet. So I really don't think you're going to need a slave flash with this one. I mean, of course you could add one to it if you wanted to, but I really don't think it's necessary. I've already got the camera hacked, so I'm not going to be showing you, soldering all the wires on and everything. But I will show you the hack points on it. I've also got all the screws around the perimeter removed. There's two on the right hand side here under the battery door. There will be one in this little corner here, and it's a little bit longer screw than all the rest of them, so keep that in mind when you're putting it back together. There'll be 3 screws along the bottom that you need to take out, and there's one over here on the side. I don't believe there's not one under this AV port over here. So anyway, I've already gotten all the screws removed, and I'm just going to go through and show you basically taking the camera apart and where the hack points on it are. So got my battery door open, and you want to just start trying to separate the halves here down along the bottom. This one's kind of tough to do sometimes. Kind of work up along the side to start getting it to kind of come apart there on the other side, and you can eventually get the front cover off, set that to the side. Alright, now to get the back cover off, just kind of have to work everything loose. There's some little clips along the sides and stuff that you can get loose. Kind of be careful where you're putting your fingers up here. I haven't found the flash contact points yet, but I'm sure that you'll probably get lit up if you touch the wrong spot. So I'm trying to avoid that so I don't screw up the camera. Like I said, it's a little bit tough to get apart, but once you get it going, it'll come apart fairly easy. There we go. Now when you start taking this back cover off, you got to be careful, because there's a ribbon that attaches right up here on the top that comes from your selector dial. And so I just take some smooth jaw pliers and get in there real close to the board and grab it and pull that out, and then you can set your back cover to the side. Alright, the hack on this little camera is not too bad. Only thing I didn't really like is that the power button, which is here, and your shutter button over here, they're actually not on a control board, or a PC board. They're mounted on a ribbon, and so you want to be careful not to apply too much heat to those hack points, or you'll melt that ribbon. You just kind of put a little solder flux on there at your contact locations. Just a little dab is all you need. Pre-tin your wires, and just touch it with your iron for a second just to get that connection made, and it should be good. So anyway, for the power button, I'm trying to get this where maybe you can see this, but the top left corner up here is going to be your power wire, and the bottom right contact will be your power common. For the shutter button over here, the top right contact is going to be your shutter. And for the externals, they're really easy to get to. You got this top up here is going to be your battery negative or battery common, and then the next one is going to be your battery positive for your externals. And what I did over here on this little side under this metal tab, I just kind of clipped out right in this area here. There's little piece of plastic, and I just took some little side cutters and got in there and snipped that off a little bit. And I ran my external wires under this metal bracket here and my shutter wire, and the same here. I ran those wires under this metal here. Then I was able to connect my power positive for my externals and power negative for my externals, and route my shutter wire around over here. Okay, so all that's pretty easy to do. Okay, now for routing my wires, what I did was removed the LCD screen on the back, and to do that there's a screw here at the top right corner, and there's one in the bottom left corner, and I'll just kind of show you that real quick. So just remove those screws, set those to the side, and that top right screw is a little longer screw than the one that's on the bottom left, so keep those in order so you can put those back where they belong. Okay, you get those screws loose, and then you can just rotate the LCD screen down, and that gives you a place to start routing your wires out. Excuse me. Now what I did was just unlatch the little latch here that holds the LCD ribbon on, and that way it allowed me to get the LCD screen a little bit further out of the way, but I didn't remove these wires. You'll notice that there's a red and black wire here that's for the LCD backlight, and I just left those on. If you want to, you could desolder them and solder them back on, but I didn't feel that was necessary, as long as you're careful and you don't break them off. Alright, but anyway, to route my wires on the camera, what I did was I just came down behind this ribbon up here on the top with my power and power common wire, and then routed my shutter wire and my external wires behind that same ribbon. Kind of came over to the left a little bit, kept them laid flat in there, and just put a little piece of tape on it to hold them in place. Right up here you got to be sure that you don't cover up this slot where that selector dial ribbon has to go back in, so kind of watch where you route your wires there and keep those out of the way. I used 28 AWG wire for my externals. Of course you could use smaller wire like a 30 AWG if you wanted to, but there's enough room in this camera that you can use a little bit larger wire for your externals. And to route my wires out of the camera, right down here where the tripod mount is, right below the back main board, in between that and this metal bracket that's on the bottom, I just took a small drill bit, I think maybe it's like a 3/32, and drilled into the tripod hole, and then I elongated that slot or that hole so I could have plenty of room to feed all of my wires through, and then just ran them out through the tripod hole. Once you get that done, you can just put your camera back together. There's a little bracket that goes up on this LCD that you got to make sure you get back in place too when you put that back on. See if I can get that, and then just fold my LCD back over in place. Make sure it's resting where it's supposed to, so you can get your screws back in. Remember, the longer screw goes in the top right corner up here. Fumble finger this morning, I can't get that screw on there. Okay. Okay, for some reason my video stopped, so I had to restart it. But anyway, got the LCD screen back on. My hack is all completed, so now we can put the camera back together. And I'm going to start with the back cover, and we'll we've got to get that little ribbon reattached for our selector dial up there. So again, just taking my little smooth jawed pliers and try to get that ribbon reinserted up here. If I can get it to work with me. Okay, get that reinstalled, and just get our back cover pushed back into place. Make sure your wires are okay. Okay, got our back cover, and kind of take this front cover and tilt it a little bit up so you can try to engage that top, and then start rotating it down. And right here on the bottom, these little clips where the screws go through, just kind of make sure those go into place and get everything snapped back together. And at that point you can go ahead and reinstall all of your screws, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and show you that the hack works. Put our memory card in, install our batteries, get it closed back up. Alright, so we got power common, powers the camera up, and shutter and power common. If I can get it together here. Take a picture. Let's see if I can get it to force flash here. Okay. There we go. So like I said, the hack is not that bad on this little camera, and I actually think it's going to do pretty well, and it's actually pretty fast. I was surprised at that also. I'm running it on a Type 1 setting, which would be a 1.2 second shutter speed. But I did have to change the refresh rate on it. Type 1 usually runs at a 2-hour refresh, and I found out after letting this thing set last night and then trying it this morning on the first trigger that it missed the first shutter signal. So I adjusted that to a 1-hour refresh rate, and I think that should work pretty good. Hope this helps. Thanks.